Current year, 2021. I am 20. Horrifying, I know. Cast your mind back to the ancient year 2001, 20 years ago. Do you remember what happened in 2001? You know what? Forget I said that. I was born January 2001, like the baby from 2001: A Space Odyssey, except nothing like that. I just picked that as an analogy because it has 2001 on the title. You ever look back at all like the weird stuff, or just stuff in general that came out around the time you were born, and realize how closely connected you are to that thing? I was born the same year the original Xbox came out. That was the first console I ever had. I had a bunch of bulky Mad Catz controllers and only played Star Wars and Shrek games. Halo came out that year, but you know, Shrek games. Super Smash Bros. Melee, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Shrek, the movie, Joe Dirt. As much as I love those things, maybe sans Joe Dirt, they didn't follow me throughout my life. They didn't change when I did, and they didn't grow with me. But one 2001 thing did. September 2nd, 2001, the late night block Adult Swim launches. I was 8 months old, meaning that there was a period of time, 8 months, that there was no Adult Swim where I existed. Lucky for me, I can't remember any of that. Just a lot of crying and shitting. I can't swear in the first minute. When you're seeing this, we're getting very close to Adult Swim's 20th anniversary or 20th birthday. And I don't know how many more ways I could say this, but I am also 20. I'm 20. We're both 20 now. So I deemed it only fitting to not only talk about all the stuff Adult Swim has done, but also how I grew with it and how it affected me. I'd like to tell you that Adult Swim changed my life, but that's not true. I was never without Adult Swim. It was my life. You may be asking, Andrew, that can't be true. If you're the same age as Adult Swim, how could you have watched it since its inception? You'd be a toddler. Fair question. The answer to that is I had a TV in my room when I was little, and my parents didn't know that Cartoon Network becomes Adult Swim at night. I remember in kindergarten, I got in trouble because I wanted to play Family Guy, which is, I was just in the milk line, and I said, "Oh, where the hell is the chocolate milk?" My parents fought a lot. Hello, people of Earth. I am Andrew, and today I'm here. I'm joined by my special guest, Andrew. Thanks, Andrew. It really is such an honor to be here in this really contrived transition to talk about Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Adult Swim didn't just come out of nowhere. Space Ghost actually predates the block itself. Depending on how you feel about the Moxie show, then technically Space Ghost was the first original Cartoon Network show. See, back in the 90s, Cartoon Network only did reruns of old Hanna-Barbera shows. They didn't make their own shows. While later down the line we got more original shows with their own art styles, Space Ghost Coast to Coast utilized a technique of using old animation assets to minimize the workload. And it worked. It gave the show an indie feel, like someone on the internet just threw it together. And that's not a knock at the show, it's revolutionary. But it seems very improvisational, like a lot of random cartoons, and the characters moved by bobbing the models up and down like a film cow movie. I miss when everyone on the internet called their videos movies. Space Ghost Coast to Coast was a show that existed. I wrote this ahead of... I'm actually struggling to find a way to describe it. It's improvisational, kind of. It's basically a parody of late night shows before late night shows became a parody of late night shows, where they would interview celebrities as their characters and purposefully make them uncomfortable, which is awesome. It's not really an argument because people aren't that like upset about it, but it is a discussion about what show started the whole cringe humor thing. Obviously there's British shows that have been doing it for far longer, but in America, I like to think it was Space Ghost. Space Ghost Coast to Coast was on Cartoon Network, but it wasn't for kids. Like I said, Cartoon Network was made up of only Hanna-Barbera reruns at that time, which also strictly weren't for kids. I think Space Ghost is the last time a character swore on Cartoon Network until like 2010 with Adventure Time, a regular show, which was also pitched to Adult Swim. Mike Lazo, the creator, was specifically asked to make a cartoon that appealed to adults. And he did, and then did again, and then again, and then he did it again.
All kids out of the pool for Adult Swim. All kids out.
Space Ghost was not only a hit, but the format in which it was made, it didn't cost the studio a lot of money. Oh, and I should mention that Adult Swim was very much a passion project. The Cartoon Network would have liked it to happen, but they didn't really care enough to put a lot into it. Because of that, they didn't have a lot of money to work with. So the new shows made under the special programming name were all made by the same team in the same way Space Ghost was. They made 4 new shows to fill out the nighttime block, all technically spin-offs of Space Ghost and all made by reusing assets. These shows were Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, which reused animation cells from Birdman on top of a lot of other things. You know the overused Scooby-Doo joke of like Shaggy, oh, he's doing the funny weed. That joke was made using the assets of the original show in a show made by a subsidiary of Hanna-Barbera. They literally already made, like, the joke's dead at that point. And I don't mean that in, like, the Ellen Show way where the joke's dead. I mean, like, they already did it and they did it better. Stop making the joke. C-Lab 2021, which uses the assets of C-Lab 2020, which utilized its story to really show the horrors of the far-off year of 2021. If only you knew. The Brack Show, which, for whatever reason, is the most hated by a lot of people and also made fun of by the network, but like, I don't know. I don't love it, but it's about as good as C-Lab. People just don't like Brack. And the final spinoff, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. This show has the least to do with all the others, and it only ever really reuses backgrounds. All the characters are new creations. Creations, I should mention, that were made in Photoshop and animated in Adobe After Effects and Final Cut Pro. Like I said, indie feel. The reason this show is so different is because it wasn't supposed to exist, really. Creators of the show, Dave and Matt, previously worked on Space Ghost. They felt that they had a lot of good ideas that weren't being utilized properly on that show. I'm telling this story based off memory because the podcast I heard it on, I can't find it. Anyway, the 2 dudes were given a certain amount of money to make a Space Ghost project, a budget, if you will, and were told multiple times, hey, this is Space Ghost money. You're not allowed to make your own projects with it. So they made the Aqua Teen pilot with it. Adult Swim exemplifies the rebellious spirit, even to itself. So they showed the pilot to the team, and they thought it was so funny that they greenlit the show. I think I should reiterate that if they didn't think this pilot was hilarious, they definitely would have been fired. Eventually, these other shows died off, but Aqua Teen kept kicking and started picking up members from the other teams of other shows and a lot of Space Ghost alum. Aqua Teen was huge for the network, and nothing shows this off more than the movie.
Check it out, y'all. Check it out. Check it out, y'all. Check it out.
Oh yeah, there was an Aqua Teen theatrical film, and if you don't understand how big that is, let me explain it to you this way. As of, today, Cartoon Network has only ever released 3 of their movies in theaters. The Powerpuff Girls movie, which came out when the Powerpuff Girls were the face of the network. The Teen Titans Go movie, which came out when all they were airing was Teen Titans Go, and that was the face of the network. And the Aqua Teen movie. Also, to promote the movie, they put a bunch of light brights around Boston. The Boston police thought they were bombs, so they had to do community service and almost tanked the network entirely in fines. But I'm sure you've heard about that already, so I won't tell you about it. And if you haven't heard about it, you're very confused right now, sorry. Aqua Teen Hunger Force ran for 11 seasons and then was eventually canceled by Mike Lazo, who is now in charge of Adult Swim, and he thought it was a good time to end things. The 2 dudes didn't want the show to end and really thought it could keep going, but hey, we're getting a new special for HBO Max, so Aqua Teen really is forever. This could easily be another story of, the independent creators really sticking it to the man and fighting the president. But one thing you need to understand about why Adult Swim is so great is that everything has to end. You could watch one of the funniest shows you've ever seen in your life, but then it only gets like 1 or 2 seasons, and that's okay. The reason those creative shows exist is because they were given a chance where no one else gave them. And other shows deserve that chance too. But it wasn't just these special programs that filled out the Adult Swim catalog. The first night of broadcast also aired Home Movies and Cowboy Bebop.
Sometimes it ain't pretty, but it's a living.
Neither of these were made by Adult Swim, they were both acquired. You see, Adult Swim isn't just known for funny, indie feel shows pushing the envelope and popularizing cringe humor, they also have a long history of saving mistreated shows and introducing the West to adult anime. Home Movies had its original run on UPN, a channel so good that it closed its doors in 2006. Home Movies was promptly canceled by the UPN, not seeing its full potential, but our good old pal Adult Swim did. It aired and almost immediately became a cult classic. It aired for 3 more seasons and dropped the squiggle vision effect, which personally I liked, but it's fine. Anime. I'm not the person that should be talking about this. My memories of anime on Adult Swim is me in a groggy state, waking up in the middle of the night, seeing Inuyasha on my screen, and trying my best to watch in the middle of the episode, and then realizing I have no idea what's going on, and then falling back asleep. And I actually watched Bebop for the first time recently, and it has that kind of vibe. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not saying the show is boring. It's not boring. It's relaxing. It's a show that would come on when you're really tired and kind of chill you to sleep. It's the TV equivalent of lo-fi beats to study and/or relax to. That's not right. It should be study/relax to. It's a study and/or. You could study and relax, or you could do one or the other. Why did I write that? Anime had already had a place on Cartoon Network, as it did on a lot of other channels, but Adult Swim is what popularized adult anime in the West. The only place to watch uncensored anime was like the Sci-Fi Network, and that was very rare too, just whatever feeling that day. I wish I could tell you that anime was a big part of my childhood and development, but that's not true. Unless you want to hear me talk about Bakugan for the next hour, which I am prepared to do.
Sundays at 10. It's all kids out of the pool for Adult Swim.
You can't just decide to go swimming whenever you want.
That's when there'll be count 'em new shows. New shows. Home movies.
Who went wee-wee in my canteen?
Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Look at my freaking car.
The Bragg Show.
You fell.
Your father and race were...
Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. C-Lab 2021.
You broke the monitor, and you're dead. Happy?
Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop. And Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
This is Willie Nelson.
And this is our lineup. This is how the block was for a couple years, except the Bragg Show got canceled, go figure. We've been following a timeline up until this point, but starting now it's gonna get a little bit erratic, but my videos are always this unfocused anyway, so who cares? The main things we need to focus on is what makes Adult Swim Adult Swim. Adult Swim is revolutionary. Indie feel, cringe humor, adult anime, saving shows. That's it. That's the one, saving shows.
Which brings me to tonight's episode, When You Wish Upon a Weinstein. The episode that Fox refused to air because they felt it was too risky.
I was struggling to find where I was going with this, but saving shows, that's what we're going with. The UPN may have fumbled with home movies, but I'm sure the WB will do much better. Nope, they canceled The Oblongs, Mission Hill, and Baby Blues, all of which were promptly scooped up by Adult Swim. The Oblongs being the one I think deserved to be saved the most, and the one I actually remember seeing, well, that's a very hazy memory. And you know, it's a nice feel-good story to see Adult Swim give these little shows a second chance. And while a lot of them have been cult classics, nothing was ever like big regrets for the original channels. That was until Fox cancels Futurama. I think the best way for me to describe how dumb of an idea this was is just to say it out loud. It just sounds dumb. But our good pal Adult Swim came in to save the day. They got the syndication rights to run Futurama reruns on the network. Futurama was already a cult classic, but it gained a new audience of dedicated fans who wanted to see more. Eventually, due to popular demand and good DVD sales, Futurama got 4 straight-to-DVD specials that were aired on Comedy Central, cut into separate episodes. Wow, Fox, don't you feel stupid. It's a good thing it won't happen again. And worse. After season 3, Fox canceled this little dinky little show called Family Guy. And then they put reruns on Adult Swim, which became so popular that it became the second best selling television DVD of all time. Not forever, because they surpassed it, but at the time it was all time. What did I just say? And because of said sales, the show was brought back, where it still airs today on both Fox and Adult Swim, as of when I'm recording this. Well, that's a pretty unlucky streak, but I'm sure it won't happen a third time. 2014, Fox just straight up stops ordering new episodes of American Dad, and TBS saves it. I know that TBS isn't the same thing as Adult Swim, but they're owned by the same company, and the only reason TBS got it instead of Adult Swim is because they were gonna have an adult animated block, which Louis C.K. ruined by showing his penis to a bunch of people. Whatever, moving on. Not only did Adult Swim save a bunch of shows, but one time, they saved an entire programming block. I said earlier that they showed a lot of adult anime, but it wasn't really... It had a slot, but it was just like the end of the night, kind of along with the Western shows. The anime block on Cartoon Network was Toonami, which was a big part of a lot of people's childhoods. but not mine. Whoops. Around 2009, when Cartoon Network died, they tried to reboot Toonami with it was still Tom, but he had a weird. His face was bad, but that didn't last very long. The host Tom flew off into the sunset, never to be seen again. That is until April 1st, 2012, where Adult Swim's annual The Room Marathon, don't ask, I'll explain later, was interrupted by Tom, and a whole night going forward was Toonami showing classic anime. There was such a huge reaction for this that later down the line, they brought back the block with some updated shows. They saved all these shows, saved some newer shows that became cult classics, saved the entire block, and then saved one of their own shows to put inside that block. Back when Adult Swim first started, they were reusing old Hanna-Barbera cells because they were old shows that either people wouldn't remember, or the people that did watch them when they were kids, and now they're an adult, so it's like the show is growing up with them, which is really cool. Not a lot of shows do that. Similarly, Adult Swim greenlit final season of Samurai Jack so that it could wrap up its story, bringing back beloved characters and locations and making it a lot more adult. And I don't mean adult in like the ha shit and come kind of way. Why? I mean adult in the way that your main character is likely going to kill himself because of how hopeless everything feels. Adult. Two birds with one stone. I love saying that. I never know what it means. Never say Adult Swim doesn't give shows endings. Before, I had very fuzzy memories of the Get Out of the Pool era. We're moving more towards when I have memories. I don't remember a lot of the Get Out of the Pool era. I remember once distinctly, was it the first time I watched it? I was in the living room and the All Kids Out of the Pool thing started playing, and I thought the TV was real and was yelling at me, so I hid behind the couch. But I kept watching. It was the Family Guy episode where it's a Willy Wonka parody, and Peter does the funny because he hurts his knee thing. I remember this because I was definitely not supposed to be watching Family Guy, and my dad came up from downstairs holding my little sister. So like a toy from Toy Story, I pretended to be asleep while also leaving the TV on. But when my dad came upstairs, he saw it was on the TV and I was asleep. So he turned the TV off. And then when he was gone, I turned the TV back on. And then he came back and I pretended to be asleep, but I left the TV on, which is just a bad plan. What did I think he would think? Who turned the TV on? I'd say about 80% of my Adult Swim memories are me pretending to be asleep. Once we got HD TVs instead of staticky ones, my mom figured out she could set a sleep timer on the TV. So she would set it for like midnight, so I wouldn't stay up all night watching Adult Swim. But I was, a 2000s kid, and she was not. So I figured out that I could just set the sleeper to later. So I just made it go off at 6 a.m., where I would likely be asleep. And of all the threads we're following of me as a child becoming me as an adult, nothing's changed. I still sleep during the day and stay up at night. I remember watching Futurama on Adult Swim with my baby sister, and we called it the Bender Show, because even back then we knew who the best character was. But after doing my research, it's come to my attention that Futurama left Adult Swim in 2007, meaning at the latest I was 6 and she was 4. Meaning when she was 4, she came from her bedroom to mine, where we both remember it happening, but I don't know how that happened. Who knows? One thing you should know about Kid Me, which you already know if you've watched the previous videos, is that I was terrified of everything. I mentioned previously that I was scared of the All Kids Out of the Pool warning, but it still didn't stop me. I still watched the entire night. Every night. Adult Swim obviously knew this kind of thing was happening all across America, so they did the same thing anyone would have done in this position. Fuck with some kids.
It takes a lot to make a stew.
A pinch of salt and laughter too.
I'm putting on the scary hat. This is the scary hat, because it's gonna get scary. A bunch of my memories are very hazy, which in combination with a bunch of the bumps being very strange and experimental, creates a vast library of lost media I remember that may or may not be real. If you're at least even kind of a fan, I'm sure you've heard about The Dawn Is Your Enemy. The Dawn Is Your Enemy is a bumper made specifically to scare the shit out of children, which it did, and that's pretty cool if I'm being honest. There was a creepypasta inspired by it, and I don't think I've ever seen this before, but the actual source material is scarier than like the lost episode version they made. All I know is the creepypasta involves some kind of like red balloon, I think, floating up, but the people behind the scenes caught wind of this, so they re-aired the bumper with the same red balloon just to fuck with people. Did I forget to mention that this bumper was the transition back to Cartoon Network, meaning that you could, even if you're like a kid that wakes up at 6 a.m., you could still see this even if you didn't watch Adult Swim. All the risk and none of the reward. You could wake up at 6 a.m. like most school children do, see this, and you'd shit in your fucking diaper. Because of the vagueness of all these bumps and memories, a hunt started for this one bumper called the Yeti. A lot of people remembered this bump about a Yeti staring at the screen and remember being scared by it, but there was no real proof that it existed. It's at the point now that people are kind of starting to feel like they'll never find it. That's the case with most lost media. Maybe the Yeti never existed, and it was just some kind of shared nightmare or misremembered commercial. No, it's real. It's actually real. It got found recently, and this is what it looks like. Hey guys, editor Andrew here. This is really gonna sound fake as fuck because this is what someone would say if they were making up a story. But I wrote this script while watching the video. I'm like, okay, the video's here, and before I could download it, the video's gone. I don't know if it was real or fake. A lot of people said it was real. It claimed to be real, but either way, it's gone now. Here's an image of it. I wrote a whole bit in here thinking that I found it, and I did, and now it's gone. So let's just all pretend we watched it. If you find the Yeti bump, let me know, I guess. I repeat myself. Scarier than the mystery. It's always fun to talk about potential lost media memories that I have, like I'm a sleeper agent and any like thing could immediately awaken, like, oh, I remember this happening. One time I was in a call with the boys and I, for whatever reason, remembered watching this one car commercial one night. I was watching Adult Swim. It just popped in my brain and it was playing What You Won't Do for Love over it, and then we kept listening to the song, so much so that I couldn't get the song out of my head and started playing it in the call and wanted it to be the intro to the Boys Cast, but you know, copyright. Then about a year after I moved, I got really into watching old broadcasts. I was already really into that, but I got into the actual tape trading aspect of it, and I found old rips on the Internet Archive, one specifically from 2013, and I watched it, and I found the commercial I first saw it in. I don't know if I saved it or if I still have it, but if I did, then the commercial is playing behind me. I can't believe I found such a niche memory that is in my head and only all the boys care about. That's actually, they probably, realistically, only I care about it. Doom, 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 I guess you wonder where I've been. Because of this miraculous discovery that even an idiot like me could make, I am on the hunt for something I specifically remember happening. And yeah, your memory can play tricks on you, but I know it actually happened because I went back to look at old schedules, and I confirmed that it's real. Shout out to the archive, by the way. Saved my life. I was a little shit back in the day. Yeah, I got in trouble in kindergarten for watching Family Guy, or for playing Family Guy, but that's behind us. We're in first grade now. I only had one other friend in first grade that also watched Adult Swim, and we felt like we were part of this like secret society, and I finally found someone that like basically that thinks the way I do. No one else had the means to watch it. Me and him talked about it all the time, even into like middle school. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm just excited. We both liked Adult Swim, and specifically Robot Chicken. Now, I haven't mentioned Robot Chicken up until this point, but that and Family Guy were basically the main two things that got me into it. It was the thing that kept me interested as a child. It exemplified the underground feeling that I was talking about earlier. It felt like anyone could make it. You may have only watched Robot Chicken recently and are probably confused by what I'm saying, because, like, you know, it's a dynasty now. It's got HD, a very strict production schedule, and it looks great. It's got a higher budget and they know what they're doing. And I'm not gonna pretend like that's a bad thing, like, oh, they fucking sold out, because no, it's just good. It's not a bad thing, and it happens to all shows when they go for a long time. But when the show first started, it legitimately looked like dudes just playing with action figures. I think one time Family Guy actually used the adults playing with dolls joke to like make fun of the show, but that was part of the charm. That's what's cool about it. Sorry, Seth Green, for all the stuff I said about Buffy. Watching Robot Chicken on the TV and Clay World on the computer is what gave me my early love for stop motion animation, and probably what gave me my ADD. I saw the show and I wanted to replicate it so much that I made stop motion animations with my wrestling figures at my friend's house on my 3DS. If you're seeing this, that means I found the footage, and I hate to sideline this video with yet another tangent, but you can't. First off, getting a 3DS capture card is pretty much impossible to get, and you can't upload the photos. So I had to go on the web browser, if you're seeing this even, go on the web browser on the 3DS and email them to myself. I don't know, I just thought it would be, it's dumb is what it is. And if you don't see anything right now, it's probably because what I just said is really dumb and it might not work. Anyways, the reason I bring this up is because the one very vivid memory I have is Star Wars night.
is an aluminum falcon?
So I loved both Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, but I know that the paths would never cross. They wouldn't really collaborate on anything. If one is celebrating one thing, the other probably wouldn't get in on the celebration unless it's like a big holiday. Until October 2nd, 2008, I'm not even looking at I remember the day. Star Wars The Clone Wars, the TV show, was set to premiere on the channel on October 3rd, 2008, that Friday. So they had a little, celebration? That might not be the right word. It was Thursday, which is normally when they do Har Har Thursdays, which I could also talk about for hours, but that's not why we're here. That day, they changed it to Star Star Stars Days, where all the branding and sound effects were, I don't know, guess. Star Wars, idiot. I'm being incredibly hostile, but it is because I'm full of energy right now. We got new Chowder, new Flapjack, new Total Drama, TV premiere of Thumb Wars. That's real. And later in the year, my little sister and I went on the internet looking for Thumb Wars because I guess we thought it was so funny. And they cut it down for the TV airing because the original is not suitable for children. But the whole point of this video is pretty much that I watched Adult Swim all the time when I was a little kid, so get off your high horse. Then the Cartoon Network night ended and it transitioned into Adult Swim, where they also aired their Family Guy Star Wars special and then the Robot Chicken Star Wars special. And I know it happened because it still says that that's what aired on that day on the schedule archive. Again, thank you. Saved my life. Okay, Andrew, where are we going with this? Where we're going is that I had to have known about this before it aired. I may have hazy memories of the happy moments because there weren't a lot of them, but if there's one thing I can count on my brain on memorizing, it's when I embarrassed myself. So I had seen commercials for this special night. I knew about it ahead of time, and I got so excited that I told my grade school friend. Let's call him Max for convenience, because I just realized that he's probably gonna come up a lot more. Now, Max didn't watch Cartoon Network as much as Adult Swim, but I was a double dipper. Ugh, no, I should probably... Different analogy. I told him at lunch and on the bus ride home because I was very excited about these new specials. I don't know if they were new, but they were new to me. When you're a kid, pretty much everything's new, so whatever. He got excited, so we both planned on calling each other beforehand to make sure we were both gonna watch it. We were both very excited. I keep saying that I'm excited right now to be talking about it, but I was what the fuck? Don't put that part in. I was just talking and I wasn't going anywhere with that. I don't know if you know this. I would be surprised if you did, and I highly doubt it. But back in the day on YouTube, there was, I say a lot, but it could not have been a lot, a very niche community of people that got footage of Chowder, the show Chowder, and got basically put Family Guy audio on top of it. If you look this up now, I don't even know what you would search, but if you look this up now, you might find some of the ones I watched, and maybe some of the ones I made, but I'd prefer if you didn't. I, for whatever reason, while watching this new Chowder episode, was pretending it was Family Guy. I think it was the Arborians. I don't know why it happened, but I just know that kid me did it. I don't know, kids are dumb. I was especially dumb. I also know that my friend called me up, and again, for some reason, I do not understand why I would tell him this, because it's not true. I told him that I was watching the new Family Guy Star Wars special. Now, if you're following the story so far, I had not seen the special, neither had he, and it wasn't airing yet. But I told him I was currently watching it because I was pretending I was watching it. He freaked out, obviously, because he didn't want to miss it. And then he frantically asked me what channel I was watching it on. And instead of telling him that, oh, I was pretending, I was just playing a little gag, I was joking. It wasn't even a joke, I was just being weird. So instead of telling him the truth and letting him know that I was a loser, I said a random channel number and he flipped to it. I don't remember what his reaction was, but I know that definitely it wasn't playing on the channel, and then I hung up. Why? Like I said, the brain is much better at remembering embarrassing memories. Then later in the night, after talking about it at school all the time, getting on the bus ride home, pretending, getting through this whole, embarrassing ordeal, finally became nighttime. And I fell asleep and didn't get to see any of it. So that's pretty cool. A lot of my Robot Chicken watching memories are from clips on YouTube anyway. I remember being at my friend's house and seeing the Gummy Bear sketch and the Six Flags guy sketch. I also remember, this has no context to anything, by the way. It's just memories that aren't attached. I remember watching the Fraggle Rock sketch on adultswim.com and my babysitter asking if I was allowed to watch it, in which I responded, Yeah, what did she think I was not gonna lie to her? Now that I think about it, I actually spent a lot of time in my family's office late at night, like sneaking downstairs and playing Adult Swim games like My Little Bastard and 5 Minutes to Kill Yourself, but again, side tangent would go on for way too long. We're in a tangent right now. We gotta get back on track. Adding another memory to the, I don't know why Kid Me did this, but I know what happened. At my friend's house, not Max, but the Gummy Bear, I call them the Gummy Bear friends, I guess. The Gummy Bear friend's house, we watched the Jar Jar sketch and thought it was so funny. And then one night we went off to go see fireworks, and again, for whatever reason, pretended that it was like a ship and Jar Jar was inside it, and every firework was like him exploding, and then we would do the Jar Jar voice of him screaming in anguish. I'm pretty sure I also told the story in the last, my story, the Star Wars one, because my childhood overlaps. Wait, why do I remember that? All right, we're in the horror category. Adult Swim was preparing to air a new show called The Heart She Holler. I was a fan of Adult Swim, but I was still a kid and had like nighttime was sleep time, so I could only stay up a little bit and then have to, you know, I would just pass out naturally. So I didn't really get to stay up and watch the weird hours of Adult Swim. I was an American Dad and Family Guy. I could have just wrote person. Why did I? So of course the Adult Swim execs had a big meeting to figure out how are we gonna scare children today? And the answer is simple. In the middle of a bunch of American Dad and Family Guy commercials, they would just have a jump scare. For no particular reason. Put a jump scare in the Fox show's commercials. Let's actually also put some creepy bumps to really get people hyped for the show and get children to stop watching our fucking network.
Number 6, The Heart She Hollered.
Why, you may ask? Just because. You wanna see my favorite Family Guy ad? It's the, you'll know what it is.
On the Adult Swim Family Guy world premiere, Peter eats a rice cake.
The thing about being a pussy the entire time you're a toddler is that when you start to become a teen, you kind of want to get out of that. In combination of being raised by the internet, your 14-year-old will also get into creepypasta. Ooh, while also still kind of being a pussy. Max, my friend from before, and I would constantly send creepy videos we would find back and forth. Have you seen Blank Room Soup? Have you seen I Feel Fantastic? Hey Max, have you seen Too Many Cooks? We always try to one-up each other, and I thought I won because I stumbled across a new creepy video. Stumbled makes it sound like it was a weird mystery, but the video had like millions of views, and somebody like sent it to me, I think. It's a creepy short film where a bunch of characters get brutally maimed by a puppet. If you haven't seen it, I don't know how, even those old fucks on the React channel watched it. Why am I being so hostile to these elders? But then we discovered that this creepy thing aired on Adult Swim. How did we figure that out? Could it be the Adult Swim logo in the corner, or the fact that it was uploaded to Adult Swim's YouTube account? We creepypasta kids were eating good in fall 2014. Too Many Cooks and Don't Hug Me I'm Scared 3 came out like within a couple weeks of each other. We didn't know why this aired or who made it. We just knew that if it happened again, we needed to be there to see it live. One night while playing Minecraft, probably with Adult Swim playing on my other TV in the background, something strange happened. For whatever reason, my Xbox, I think, crashed. It just kind of turned off. And in this black screen that was now reflecting my entire room, I saw something weird out of the corner of my eye. So I turned, and on my TV, I saw a bear. I was immediately intrigued, so I dropped what I was doing and ran over to the TV, enthralled by this bear. I checked the guide to see what show it was, and it just said, special programming. I watched on as the unedited footage was taken over by a medicine ad, and then a woman driving, and then the same woman attacking her, and then insanity. What did I just watch? Why does weird stuff keep airing on Adult Swim around 3 a.m.? And who is making these? Infomercials. These are infomercials. Well, not really. It's pretty much an anthology series where a bunch of independent filmmakers can all make disconnected, vaguely horror short films and have them air in the spooky slot. It's not just a clickbait YouTuber thing. 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. has always been kind of a time outside of time where weird stuff seems to happen. I say vaguely horror because most of these infomercials were actually just like dark comedies. Even when I first saw Too Many Cooks, I understood that it was creepy, but I found it really funny because, you know, it's a parody, except for the puppet. That puppet fucked me up. The cool thing about having an anthology series of creepy/funny shorts is they pick up a lot of people with experience in this field. A lot of the popular infomercials were written by and starred Alan Resnick and Ben O'Brien. And if you're into weird internet stuff like I was, these names should stick out. Alan Tutorial was one of the first unfiction YouTube stories, or at least one of the first to be popular. Wait a minute. But those guys are from the internet. My whole childhood has been YouTube and Adult Swim. They were two separate things, but now all bets are off.
Turn me down, now I live my nightmare. Gotta be seen by someone out there. And now I sit here in reflection.
On your mark, get set. Riding on the internet. I thought about changing my hat because this was supposed to just be the scary hat. But all the other ones are dumb. The internet is a funny, wacky place, huh? Before we get into who made their way from the Tube website to Adult Swim, we should mention Adult Swim's early contributions to internet culture. And I don't mean their website or their games, but I really want to talk. Can I talk about the games, please? I mean how early Adult Swim shows molded how internet videos and memes would be consumed for years to come. If the only information you have about Adult Swim is from this video, well, first off, I'm a bad teacher. Secondly, you may be in the back of the class raising your hand because Adult Swim is on the Cartoon Network and these infomercials are starring real people. What? Good question. Idiot. Adult Swim in the early years was all animation. Space Ghost had human guests, but it was still mostly a cartoon. Adult Swim plays by different rules than Cartoon Network now. I mean, they might as well be different channels. They're classified as different channels, but they gotta stick to the rule. You know how it is. When two new funny boys, not the previous ones, wanted to pitch a show, they had to get animated. That would be a good transition if I was talking about Out of Jimmy's Head, but I'm not. These funny boys were Eric Wareheim and Tim Heidecker. Oh boy. Tim and Eric's first joint with the network was Tom Goes to the Mayor, a show which utilized an animation technique that isn't really animation. I mean, really, what is animation? It's just pictures moving. And if the show's funny, it doesn't really matter how well animated it is. I mean, Aqua Teen is animated with Photoshop, and 12-Ounce Mouse is too complex for me to talk about. Regardless, Tom Goes to the Mayor aired on Adult Swim, and a lot of people hated it. Uh-oh, whoops. It's worth pointing out, though, that the viewing audience hated it, but there were a lot of not A-list stars, but pretty high-up comedians that appeared on the show, so they at least had to kind of like it. Either way, the show didn't have a lot of longevity, so they had to change up their game plan. Tim and Eric's show was already airing around the 3 a.m. slot, so they utilized that. Nothing fits that slot more than surreal shorts that you can't tell if they were real or fake when you wake up the next day. Tim and Eric's awesome show, Great Job, is a live-action variety sketch show. It sounds like I'm reading the Wikipedia article, but I'm struggling to describe it. It's basically a parody of public broadcast television. All of the weird ads and self-produced shows you would see on a network like that. But more batshit insane. When I say the show impacted the internet, I just don't mean that it's like in memes right now, but it is. It's got a lot of memes. Like a lot, like way ahead of its time. Awesome show consisted of snappy editing, surreal visuals, overstimulation, and nonsense. I'm obviously showing some footage right now in the back. Why did my wrist move like that? I'm obviously showing some footage in the background if I'm doing my job correctly, but I can't. You kind of just have to watch it to understand what I mean. It's like these were edited with the intention of being a YouTube poop, which they also predated. The main thing was the cringe humor, and if you remember a couple hours ago probably, I said Space Ghost was a huge component in that, but it didn't play an active part in spreading it around. The production company behind the show, Absolutely. That's Tim's dad, and they went on a trip one time, and it was like a home movie video, and he asked him, hey, describe the trip in 2 words, and he's 2 words. He said absolutely. Absolutely also produced other cringe-based shows like Nathan For You and The Eric Andre Show, and oh, I forgot about The Eric Andre Show. The Eric Andre Show is like the love child of Tim and Eric and Space Ghost. A mixture of the cringe-based interviews of Space Ghost and the snappy editing and public broadcast feel of Tim and Eric. It obviously has a much bigger budget now, but the first season was made on the same shoestring budget. I can't say that right. Oh my god, I had it right. That same thin, long budget that all the other shows were working with, and it gave it that indie feel. And in all fairness, if we're gonna talk about memes, then we should probably talk about the Eric Andre Show too. Absolutely also produced Tim's other projects on the network. And I know before, as like a passing joke to kind of write off stuff I don't want to talk about, that's, oh, it would take too long to talk about. But Tim Heidecker has his own lore, and there's not enough time to talk about it. Tim Heidecker is a genius, and I don't feel dumb saying that at all. The closest thing people can compare it to is like Andy Kaufman's comedy style, but even that's kind of hard to explain. There's the real life Tim, who we rarely see, the character Tim who plays all the Tims in the shows that exist in that Tim's universe and ours, but not all the shows are non-canon. Some are movie review shows about real movies in our universe, but still played by the same level fake Tim, the scene level fake Tim. This is a lot to take in, and I know by this point in the video I've already given you a lot of homework, but you should check out Tim Heidecker's new special. It's so unfunny that it's funny again, and maybe only I like that, but that is my style of humor. I love it. There are 2 stand-up specials I saw in spring 2021, and they were An Evening with Tim Heidecker and Bo Burnham's Inside. And I still do not know which one I like more. So that's praise enough. That's how good it is. I assume your exposure to Tim and Eric or Eric Andre is from the internet, as was mine. The good thing about shows with segments like this is that they work perfectly as like YouTube videos or memes because they don't last very long. The Eric Andre show specifically films for hours and cuts it down to 11 minutes, so there is no time to breathe or, you know, take a break because then the show is over. Adult Swim knows how to adapt to the gradual decay of cable television, as they have a symbiotic relationship with the internet. Whether it's the live streams they used to do, or how a lot of the bumps utilize tweets from fans, or utilizing talent from the internet. Looping back around to late night horror on the block, we have Opal. Opal is a stop motion animated short film that aired on the night of October 30th, 2020. And it's fantastic. Everything that appears on screen is a practical prop. I'm pretty sure even the effects and the credits are some kind of prop. I'm a big fan of practical effects and stop motion and creepy shit, and Opal's fantastic. It's on YouTube. You should watch it. I know, a long list of stuff, but just watch it. But who made this? And how did Adult Swim find such a revolutionary? Well, obviously you aren't paying attention to the topic at hand, the internet, dumbass. Opal was created by Jack Stolber, who's been making these freaky little shorts for his songs on YouTube for a long time. It's possible that you don't know his name, but you definitely know his music if you're on the internet a little bit, because his song Buttercup blew up a while ago, but it went completely uncredited for a long time. Not that the song or the music video was uncredited, just people used the song and nobody knew where it came from. It's the song that goes, sometime. I don't know the lyrics. The list of internet talent doesn't end there. They scooped up Brad Neely as talent because they showed some of his shorts and then gave him multiple shows. Children's Hospital was at first just a web series that they just decided to put on the air. That is a double whammy of utilizing internet talent and saving a show. Most recently, they've allowed Michael Cusack to make a show. Technically 2 shows, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Opal really is fantastic, but what if I'm hungry for more creepy stop motion shit? Have you guys heard of Lee Hardcastle? He made the Play-Doh stop motion Simpsons couch gag video that traumatized you when you were a kid. But not me. Traumatized me when I was 19. If you've been watching recently, he's been making the stop motion bumps in between the new Rick and Morty episodes that are airing. Ah, shit, I forgot to talk about Rick and Morty. Talk about changing the internet, am I right? In 2005, a young Justin Roiland created an animated short called House of Cosby's. This is important, I promise I'm not changing the subject to talk about weird shit again. He made it for a film festival called Channel 101, ran by Dan Harmon and Rob Schraub. Justin was sent a cease and desist letter from Cosby's lawyers, probably because he portrayed him so well that they thought it was actually Bill Cosby. I don't know if the cease and desist was warranted, and I highly doubt it was, but even if it is, like, it's hard to feel bad for Bill Cosby. So because of this dumb copyright abuse, Justin Roiland said, okay, and pretty much just made the animated equivalent of the middle finger. The Real Adventures of Doc and Marty, a parody so blatant, you'd have to be really stupid to sue him over it. Oh, what, you're gonna sue the video where Doc makes Marty blow him because it's using your intellectual property? Is that what you want to do?
Okay, Marty, here we are, in your front lawn 30 years ago. The very same day that tree was planted.
Well, Doc, who do you think planted it? And how are we gonna stop them?
It doesn't matter who planted the tree, Marty. The only way to stop them.
Again?
That's right, Marty. We're in the year 1955 now. What do you think goes on here, Marty?
Now, these characters and voices may seem familiar to some of you. I'm getting to that. In 2012, Dan Harmon, who co-created Channel 101, was fired from his little show called Community. Maybe you've heard of it. Even if the only videos on this channel you watch are Natter Chamber videos, it is still unavoidable. After his firing, Adult Swim saw the potential in him and pretty much just gave him a deal to make whatever show he wanted. So he went to his old pal Justin and said, you know what's got a lot of potential to be one of the most important pop culture shows in the 2010s? The one where Marty blows Doc. Justin had already worked on other animated shows prior to this, mostly as a voice actor. He played Lemon Grab in cult classic Adventure Time and Oscar in underrated Fish Hooks. I'm so glad people are finally seeing the light with Fish Hooks. I will never forgive the internet for convincing people that it isn't great, but this is Justin Roiland's first animated show he'd be running. Luckily, Dan had ran a show or two in the past. I mean, he got fired. This show could be a catastrophe. But guess what, idiot? It wasn't. It's Adult Swim's biggest show and arguably bigger than Community. I don't know why I said arguably. It is definitely bigger than Community, but I love Community. It's my favorite show, and I don't want to... The arguable is me arguing about it. And so the boys, not us boys, those boys, return the favor, basically. Having independent online creators make media for the show. The new stop motion bumpers, some animated bumpers, Bush World Adventures, let's fucking go. Similar to unedited footage of a bear, one night while I was in my basement just playing a game, I can't remember what it was, my friend Logan texted me, "Hey, are you watching Adult Swim right now?" I responded, "No, why?" He said, "You should turn on your TV." And I caught the greatest thing I've ever seen. Bush World Adventures, you know the drill by now. It's fantastic. It's on YouTube. Watch it. We quote it all the time. Created by Michael Cusack and worked on by multiple animators I followed since I was a kid. Boy, I sure hope one of them gets their own show someday. Oh, I don't have a place for this, but the Hellbenders pilot, it's pretty good. I understand why they didn't go with it, but it's pretty good. Also, they had Aaron Hansen from the funny Grumpy Gamers on, which, I mean, there's not much to say about it, but preteen me thought it was cool. If you work at Adult Swim, you will be taken care of, and you return the favor to younger talent down the line. It just seems like a really great place to work.
Thank you. Because I'm going to Adult Swim where 30 people are going to watch. But it's all about fucking excitement. Hey, everybody. Hey, it's me, your friends. Whoa, we're all your friends. Ah, we don't know what the fuck we're doing, but we're your friends. Woo, woo, woo. What do you got for me? We don't have shit. We don't know what to do when you're not here. We're your friends. What the fuck's happening? We just got high the whole time you were gone. We're really freaking out. Hey, guys, take it easy. What if we did an episode about people freaking out, drawing a circle on the board? Look where we are. We're freaking out. The cosmic threshold got us to and far. Who's see you fucking genius? Please give me a job every time. Holy shit. I can't believe it. I'm so fucking high. I'm freaking out. It's fucking great, man. Fade in on freaking out. Hey, you got a phone call from the president of Adult Swim. Hey, Lazo, how's it going? Hey, man, I just want to let you know I'm so fucking high. I love this fucking show, man. I love everything on Adult Swim. I don't give a shit. Nobody's watching. I don't give a fuck. I'm high. I gotta...
Put up the hire me bitches tweet bump thing. I know it's like but also hire me. Can I work there, please? I'll carry the garbage or like coffee or whatever. I just want to be there. You'll see on a lot of networks when it comes to animation that there isn't a lot of jumping ship. Aside from maybe Craig McCracken and C.H. Greenblatt, it doesn't happen a lot. If you're on one network, you probably stay with that network. I like to look at shows like Flapjack or Fish Hooks because it follows like a family tree, and some episodes are just a who's who of animation. That Flapjack episode with the legs, who worked on it? Oh, creative Gravity Falls, creative Regular Show, creative Over the Garden Wall. Okay, got it. And Adult Swim is no different. If you made a show with them in the past and they like it, they'll probably give you more chances to make more shows. They'll probably do that. They don't even have to like it. I touched on this a little bit, but people complain a lot about Adult Swim shows getting canceled before their time. They had a lot more story to tell. But Adult Swim is just a late night block. I just spent this whole thing being like, it's not just a late night block. It's important to me, but it is just a late night block. I shouldn't have said just. It's a late night block. Let me explain. They have a strict time schedule and a couple of hours, and because of a studio mandate, they have to ease into the wackier programming with the acquired adult shows. A necessary evil of constantly having new and unique shows coming in is that an equal amount needs to go out. If you get a show on Adult Swim, it'll likely last 1 or 2 seasons. The only show I can think of that was legitimately done dirty by Adult Swim was Moral Oral, and that's just because it was way ahead of its time and they didn't know what they were dealing with. It became more of a drama than a dark comedy, and they never really done that before in their programming. But again, the good thing is that even if your show gets canceled, you're probably going to get another chance to do something different. The Ghost Planet team got more or less all the creative higher-ups to try and make their own show. Not all of them were good, but they did it. I mentioned forever ago that Home Movies was saved by Adult Swim, and even that eventually got canceled. But creator Brendan Small, who named the character after himself, was really into music. Like, yeah, he liked making cartoons, but his true passion was making music. Mostly metal music. So Adult Swim offered him a deal, and he said, hey, can I make a show about a metal band and then also make original music for that metal band? And they let the madman do it. Metalocalypse. In preparation for this video, I binged a lot of shows that came out when I was younger that I had judged prematurely. I thought I got the gist of Metalocalypse, 12 Ounce Mouse, Moral Laurel, and Super Jail, but I was way wrong about all of them. Except for Super Jail, that one's pretty self-explanatory. It's just pretty colors, and sometimes you just want to watch pretty colors, that's fine. My younger brain couldn't handle it though. And I'm sure there's a ton of shows I'm missing out on now, and then later down the line I'll realize my mistake and be like, oh, this is fantastic, and go back and watch it. I haven't watched any YOLO Crystal Fantasy, but all the clips I've seen from it look hilarious, so I don't know what I'm doing. Metalocalypse ran for a pretty long time and then ended, like all shows do. Except it didn't get a proper ending. Very, very sad and tragic. But it's getting a movie for HBO Max, idiot. It's gonna wrap up the story, probably. Same thing with Venture Bros. Before Rick and Morty came around, along with Robot Chicken and Aqua Teen, it was a flagship show. And it also got canceled, and is also getting a proper ending with HBO Max, so we're good. There was a period of time, like a little bit ago, where everyone was very concerned, and it was like the only time that I'd ever seen people really mad at Adult Swim about something, and they pretty much resolved all of it. I'm not a corporate shill, I really like it. Except for that one time, I know Moral Laurel already kind of got an ending, but please give it like a mini-series so they can flesh out more characters, please and thank you. I mean, come on. Dan Harmon's running one of the most popular shows and you can't get Dino Stamatopoulos a series? They're best friends. He's fucking Starburns. I'm getting way too off track. My point is that Adult Swim exemplifies this creative spirit and works with independent creators to make something great. In some bumpers, they show people's fan art and funny tweets. You could submit short films to them and they might play it. And the spirit is continuing on because now a generation has been inspired, and the new creative tool for young people, TikTok, has a trend where people make their own custom bumps. I've seen a lot of fellow Adult Swim fans, we like to call ourselves swimmers, get really mad about that. They're getting mad that these kids don't really know what Adult Swim is and they're making the bumpers wrong. I put the air quotes on the wrong part. But like, who cares? I don't use the app either, but come on, this is fun, it's cool. What's wrong with you? Adult Swim extended an olive branch to industry professionals, independent creators, and random people on the internet. But all those were visual media based. What can they do for my ears? Adult Swim music fucking slaps and you can't convince me otherwise. You listen to lo-fi beats to study/relax to, I listen to Adult Swim bump music. We are not the same. Adult Swim introduced me to a lot of artists and just music types in general that I never thought I would have liked before. For the same reason, they probably are the ones that gave me my weird obsession with neon lights in the dark. It's why I hang out at gas stations at night. So thanks for that. I don't know shit about music, much less making it, but if I were an artist and my music got featured on Adult Swim, I'd be ecstatic. Especially if I was a rapper. Similar to anime, I am very out of my element here and should not be the person in charge of talking about rap, but here we are. Adult Swim bumps have always had this hip-hop type feel to them. I feel so dumb saying that. Have you guys heard of the new hip-hop? What was I thinking? So they basically put out an ad pretending to be a bump saying, hey, you make music? Prove it. And a lot did prove it. It's where Flying Lotus got a start. A lot of the songs in the bumper music playlist I listened to has a lot of his work. Something about rap instrumentals mixed with fluid animation makes me feel some type of way. And it's not just him. Schoolie D wrote the Aqua Teen theme song on the car ride to the recording studio. Cool. Jay Dilla had a lot of bumps, a lot of which only recently surfaced. Like I said, a lot of these are lost media, but so memorable that people remember. Logic appeared on Rick and Morty. Post Malone hosted the April Fool's broadcast they did a couple of years back. They had Snoop Dogg on some stuff. They gave the rap group Odd Future their own show, and then they gave Jess Tyler, the creator, another chance to make a different show. And nearly all of them who have collaborated with the channel in the past appeared on Eric Andre's show to some degree. Adult Swim even tried to make their own music department called Adult Swim Studios, but it didn't work because they're not a music company. I'm not a businessman, but like, it was noble of them to try. Even now, they release songs under Adult Swim Hits, which is just a way to promote up-and-coming artists. It's just really cool. And you can trust me when I say something's cool because I can't say hip-hop without sounding like a jackass. All these artists worked with Adult Swim, and even some of them had Adult Swim incorporated into their music. But there was one guy who was there all the time and collaborated more than anyone.
Welcome to the Andy Williams Christmas Special, and I'm your host, Andy Williams.
Yo. MF Doom.
I've been working on this video for a long time because it's hard to really get all my feelings and memories onto paper. And one night, technically last year, while grinding away writing at this, I needed a break. So my family asked me, hey, do you want to go to a small New Year's party? So I went. I decided to take a break and go to said party. I knew I'd eventually have to talk about the rap section. Then before the ball dropped, I got some news that meant I'd definitely have to rewrite this part. I'm not happy about this, I'm just a nervous smiler. There truly was no man who collaborated with Adult Swim to this degree. Because he wasn't a man. He was more of a villain.
Family Guy.
Family Guy. I don't remember a lot, but I do remember when Adult Swim was hosting a Christmas event. This man with a strange mask appeared between shows to pretty much host the entire night, and I was so transfixed that I stayed up. It was Christmas Eve, and I still believed in Santa probably, and I didn't sleep so I could continue to watch this masked man. How many other rappers have had Adult Swim characters appear in their albums? He was just really cool, and the tribute Adult Swim paid him was beautiful. I never really got into his music until recently, but I'll never forget that Christmas. I stayed up and stared at a villain in a metal mask. We gotta transition into something lighter. If you could take anything away from this video, is that Adult Swim is the land of opportunity. Anyone can really make anything. And that's great when you're young and don't really know what's happening. It adds to the mysticism, but it's also good when you grow up and you want to be a writer. It's admirable. What I've been talking about a lot is just waking up in the middle of the night, watching weird dog anime, creepy bumpers, strange short films, even weirder infomercials. Maybe one night, you're very sleepy, and you raise your head up from your pillow to see what looks like video game graphics and a brown creature with 6 nipples walking on backwards knees. Then you wake up the next morning, and you think to yourself, that probably was a dream. There's no way I actually saw that. It cannot be real. Adult Swim has followed me through my whole life. I talked about toddler me, grade school me going into middle school, me starting high school. I discovered a little show called Xavier Renegade Angel in my senior year of high school, and my close friends will never forgive me for it. I finished it and then rewatched it over and over. It became part of our vocabulary during rehearsal. I got all my friends into it. That senior year of high school, legitimately the most vivid thing I remember is watching Xavier Renegade Angel. Watching the show over and over, making my friends watch it, making my sister watch it, Chris drawing the symbol on my backpack. And if you watch the channel, you will see the reverberations of what I have done because it comes up a lot. I say this with no sense of irony or mockery. Truly in my heart, Xavier Renegade Angel may be one of the greatest animated series of all time, possibly even the best just straight up series of all time. It's honestly that good. And that's what I'm talking about when I say Adult Swim shows should be fleeting. There's only 2 seasons, 20 episodes, 11 minutes, and I still managed to find it in 2019, and each episode is so tightly packed because of the limited runtime that I still go back to rewatch it over and over, and all the boys still quote it to this day. You don't need 6 seasons and a movie to make an impact. You just need a couple fantastic episodes. Since as far as the timeline goes, I know we've been loosely following the timeline, but we're in 2019 right now, so let's just stay here for a little bit. It's nice and cozy here in 2019. I sure hope nothing bad will happen later. Let's stay here, please. Getting to the end of senior year, I have no idea what I'm doing and no idea what I'm going to do. We all go to this retreat. It's a very creepy religious retreat, but it's kind of nice. The night before we were about to leave the retreat, the staff goes around and hands out these letters that we wrote to our future selves when we were in 7th grade. I couldn't remember any of what I wrote, so I was ready to cringe at what preteen me thought would be funny to put. Little 7th grade me thought it was important to write in the letter that Pokemon Sun and Moon were just shown off in the Nintendo Direct, which I thought was cute that even back then I followed this stuff religiously. My voice cracked. I'm reverting back to 7th grade. What a terrible time to be alive. A lot of it was cringy, do we get a girlfriend stuff? But the last line is what got to me. The final line was, did we ever start that podcast we always wanted to do? No. On the bus rides to school and back in middle school, my friend Max from, this video, Max, his close friend, and I would record these fake podcasts on my friend's phone. I had just gotten into Space Ghost Coast to Coast, and I did my best to have this improv-based show modeled after that. Also modeled after Chaos Pony and Noxcast, which were ran by Jason Steele of Film Cow and Robert Benford behind Clay World. It's all one big story. You couldn't write this shit. I tried again when I had a snowball mic to start one with my sister, and it didn't go well. I was on a decently popular podcast in 2015. The less said about that, the better. I was honestly shocked about what the letter said. I didn't know how to respond. So we graduate, and I don't know what I want to do so much that when I went to the guidance counselor, I just told them I was going to be working. So in the yearbook, under their names, everyone says like what school they're going to, and mine just says employment. I graduated. Chris and I go off to senior week at a beach house with just the two of us, because everybody else backed out. That is the week I got Chris into Aqua Teen Hunger Force. We watch a bunch on the drive there, and the entire week we're there. Halfway through the trip, I couldn't sleep. I stayed up looking at the ceiling as Aqua Teen was playing on the TV. And then, for whatever reason, I still don't know to this day, I just decided to put on Space Ghost Coast to Coast, and then I remembered. I remembered what middle school me wanted to do. The next day, Chris and I were walking down to the boardwalk, and I pitched this idea to him. Hey, what if we made a YouTube channel? And he said, sure. So when I say inspired by Adult Swim, literally I mean it. Oh, you figured out that the channel is inspired by Adult Swim. What ticked you off? Was it that the podcast set is just the Space Ghost set? Was it the intro text for Poorly Explained? Was it the music used for transition and outros and movie trips? Was it that Broken News is basically an Eric Andre bit? Was it that the commercial collection is basically a Tim and Eric bit? Was it the couple videos where bananas fly on screen like Harvey Birdman? Was it the videos where props explode like Aqua Teen? Was it all the static transitions like from Robot Chicken? Was it the couple tag intros which used the Aqua Teen cold opens? Or was it the fact that our logo has always had the brackets on the side? The only other thing the channel was heavily inspired by was Cow Chop, and guess what? It's just Adult Swim all the way down. Oh, and I forgot our yearly April Fool's broadcast, which we do because Adult Swim does something cool for April Fools every year. 2004, they drew a bunch of mustaches on the anime. 2005, they premiered an unfinished Squidbillies pilot. 2006, they put fart noises in the anime. 2007, they aired the upcoming Aqua Teen theatrical movie on free TV, but they just put it in a tiny corner of the screen. 2008, they dumped a bunch more pilots for upcoming shows. 2009, they aired Nothing But the Room. 2010, they aired Nothing But the Room. 2011, they aired Nothing But the Room. I planted the seed prior, and now it's time for me to come back to it. 2012, they aired a special Toonami block after it had gone off the air years prior, and people loved it so much that they got the hashtag Bring Back Toonami campaign going, and they got what they wanted. Toonami is still airing on Adult Swim to this day. I was 11 when that happened. It doesn't feel like it's been 9 years. 2013, Cat Night. 2014, Perfect Hair Forever Lost. Episode 2015, Coin Game. 2016, the joke was that there was no joke. 2017, I've got my cringe face on. It landed on a Saturday, which is when the new Samurai Jack was supposed to air. But because it was April Fool's Day, Adult Swim aired a marathon of the first episode of the new season of Rick and Morty. This is probably the most controversial April Fools because not only were Toonami fans unhappy, but this is the episode where they bring up the Szechuan sauce bit. I'm gonna move on. How many people have been like, oh, look at this cringe? No, I'm moving past it. I'm better than this. 2018, this is the year I started tuning in specifically for April Fools on these nights. Bushworld Adventures, the thing I talked about before and have not stopped talking about since I saw it. 2019, 6-hour parody of anime. Jesus Christ. If it's not Bakugan, I don't care. 2020 was another night of premieres hosted by Post Malone. A bunch of new seasons of current shows, 12 Ounce Mouse returning, YOLO Crystal Fantasy, and a pilot for something called Smiling Friends. And 2021 was Adult Swim Junior, which is a joke they made back in 2017, and everyone on the internet thought it was a real thing and convinced me it was a real thing because internet. April 2020 is when we started doing it, with the first night being a very blatant homage to Adult Swim. It doesn't get any more blatant than that. But what does this all mean? We're not paying attention? Adult Swim means the world to me. It's a constant onslaught of inspiration, a childhood memory, and a medium for creativity. And I can never thank Adult Swim enough for impacting me the way it did. even though that's kind of the point of this video. I hope the benevolent gods take my couple-hour-long sacrifice as sufficient. Originally, this was gonna end on kind of a bummer note. Mike Lazo, the man behind all of this, and very clearly the man Dan Harmon was impersonating in that Harmontown clip, in 2019, he retired. He stepped down from Adult Swim. The state of cable TV in general is very much scattered throughout the air, and the AT&T Warner Media merger, I'm gonna say this as formally as I can, fucked everyone's shit up. For a while, I didn't know what Adult Swim's future held, but it seems like they're going in the right direction. The Fox adult sitcoms are leaving around fall 2021, and while it's very sad to see them go from like a nostalgic aspect, Adult Swim doesn't need them anymore. Aqua Teen, Metalocalypse, and Venture Bros are all getting films for HBO Max. The spirit of all the things Adult Swim it's still there. Eric Andre still upholds the cringe humor stranglehold, and Tim Heidecker still does stuff with the network. Primal shows that they're still not afraid to make shows with more adult themes that aren't just sex and violence. Same thing with Tuca and Birdie, which is another show they saved just like they used to, and their symbiotic relationship with the internet and the creative people on it will be upheld with Smiling Friends. I really want to talk about how cool it is that Smiling Friends got greenlit. Like, I had a lot to say about it, but I think I should probably wait until the show comes out. It's coming this fall. It's such a shame Zach Hadel, the creator of the show, won't be able to share the night with Family Guy, as the show will be gone by that point, because I know Zach is a huge fan of Family Guy. He would have loved to see that. I mean, this whole video is just a big thank you, but mainly thank you for giving me something to watch while staying up at night as a kid, because what else am I gonna watch? George Lopez? The way that's supposed to be structured like, what else am I supposed to watch? George Lopez, but it sounded more like a comma than a new sentence. So it's like I'm asking George Lopez, what do you think, George? What am I supposed to watch? Oh, and sorry, Mom and Dad, if you're watching this, which, be honest, we're probably not, for finding out in this video that I stayed up all night, every night, watching Adult Swim throughout my entire childhood. Guess you could just lock me up and throw me in the garage. Wait a minute. Wait, the garage. Why did I say that? Why do I remember a garage? Wait, what do I remember about wait, what did I say about Chris? And the rest. My sister, the boys, Logan. Wait a minute, I said something. What did I say? I said something. Star Wars, why is it Star Wars? That's when I left. But I remember leaving, and I'm still here. I'm not here. I wasn't here. I was out. I remember being outside. I remember 2020, and after that, and how can I still be here?
Well, that was a good show. Happy anniversary, Adult Swim.
Go!